something happened that day that crossed our paths. And since that day, we've continued to form a relationship and continue to work together and pray together. And I call this man my brother, and it's a very distinct honor to be able to introduce my brother to you. One of the most progressive thinkers of our time, and the things that he's going to do with his life and the things that he's going to share with you, and the teachings that he shares with each and every one of us are very special and powerful. And his message is very strong and powerful, and the things that he's taught me are very strong and powerful. And I want to introduce Christopher Life to the nation and to the world and to all of creation today. I hope.
Live.
My name is Christopher Life. It's an honor to be here today with each of you. I know each of you are devoted to humanity, to life, and the future generations. So I'm honored to share this space with each of you. And I really appreciate everyone's words this morning. They're so powerful. And Rennie, thank you for your words. I felt your words were a very deep prayer. I felt the energy field of the prayer really open up. And I felt connected to multiple timelines and visions of moments like this with hundreds and thousands and millions. Just this morning I was walking through the Lincoln Memorial, and the very last words of the Getty's address was about preserving the possibility that on Earth there may exist government of, by, and for the people. And I think it's safe to say that we haven't yet experienced that. But the seeds have been planted and have been working for centuries. And I do believe that we're getting closer. And what I have to say today is about that. It's time to talk seriously about creating worldwide paradise in the next 20 years and our role as Americans in it. I'm talking about a fully established planetary society in which all children are safe, all ecosystems are thriving, and all people know happiness and feel free to choose the life they live. I grew up in a devout Christian home and believed that one day we would experience heaven on earth. And all I had to do was wait for a miracle to bring paradise to us. As I grew older, I never faltered my belief that humanity was destined for a mythic destiny. But I started to question if waiting was all I could do, or if part of the prophecy was that it was up to us to rise into our full potential as creators and make it reality. As I became an adult, I promised myself, God, and all life that with each day alive, I would do my best to create the world of my childhood visions. A world that truly works for all, and wait for no one and nothing to do it. First, I put my attention on extreme poverty. But after spending years in Africa, I realized that poverty was not simply a lack of development. It was the result of our geopolitical systems. And then I realized that all the biggest problems in the world were the result of the same systems. And to focus on anything other than changing how our global systems work was to be hacking at the leaves of the issue, leaving the roots untouched. From that moment on, I became devoted to addressing the roots of society, the global economic, political, and cultural systems, to participate in their maturation from a short-sighted obsession of profit to real adult responsibility, creating systems that support all people, all children, and all life on Earth. But what to do? Where to start? Are there clues from the past that could guide us into the future? Decades ago, we captured our own imagination and the attention of the world with the Apollo project, a profound convergence of brilliance and perseverance to put a man on the moon and bring him back again. It's time to create the next Apollo project, but instead of getting us to heaven, it's time to bring heaven down here. The next Apollo project is a civilization project to create the most complete and thriving human society we can imagine. But the Apollo project was driven by government, and it seemed like government was at the heart of the problem. Is it possible that the problem could be the solution? And that's when I learned what the word politics really means. I used to think it meant lying, manipulation, and vying for power. But I discovered the word comes from the Greek root polis, which means my city, the place that I call home. I realized that politics is about rising up and saying, I care about what happens here, and providing vision and leadership forward. And as an American, that helped me realize that despite our failures, corruption, and painful lessons, America wasn't broken. The fulfillment of any true political dream is a process. We have not failed to fulfill the original promise of liberty. We are still learning as an adolescent country, still maturing, still on track, if we choose to be, to establish freedom for all. And so, with a commitment to systemic transformation, inspiration for a great civilization project, a reclamation of politics and our nation's original intent, I had the clues I needed to get to work. And now I offer you my best vision forward. Those of us devoted to an exceptional planetary society can organize politically and begin using our governments and cities, public budgets, and public policies to create the world we know in our hearts is possible. And now is the time to rise, because if we don't rise together, we will fall apart. Ecosystems are collapsing. People are depressed, miserable, and killing themselves. Our worldwide financial systems could fail any day. Human slavery is more prevalent than any time in history. We have the technological capacity of gods, often used with the morality of devils. Our bodies are sick. Our minds are numb. Cupboards are empty. Prisons are full. Addiction and traumas are soaring, and our confidence that we can get out of this mess is flickering. Who is to blame? Who has allowed this suffering? We have. We are. Our lives have been so full, challenging, and distracting. We want someone to blame, but we are the ones who have given up or never claimed full stewardship. We are creators, each of us, and this is the world we have created. This country is our republic, and what happens here happens on our watch. Decay creeps in when we stop paying attention, and that's why a healthy republic requires everyone. The good news is, since we are responsible for creating this, we can create whatever happens next. The power is and always has been with the people. When the people have vision, organization, and consistency, human creativity becomes a transformational force of nature. Our opportunity is to participate in the greatest systemic transformation in history. Incremental change won't cut it anymore. It's time for deep change. Change at the core. It's not enough to figure out how to pay for health and education. We need to create systems that make people healthy. Activate our children's genius and prepare our youth to lead us into the future. It's not enough to decrease emissions and invest in renewables. We need an all-hands-on-deck intervention to regenerate land and water-based ecosystems around the world. It's not enough to ensure that everyone has the money they need to survive. We need to ask the big questions. What is truly valuable? And how do we create an economy that revolves around what matters most? And we don't just need tweaks to our political system. We need transformations to it that create transparency, ensure accountability, and celebrate integrity. We are creators, and each of us are being called to rise above the bullshit and distractions to drive the deep change we know is needed and possible now. We are powerful. We are the majority. We are waking up, growing up, and gearing up to show up as a force of change. Together, we are the people, and we are ready for a more perfect union. It's time to organize so that millions working together can lead the deep change needed locally, nationally, and worldwide in all sectors of humanity, using every capacity available to engage in the civilization version of the Apollo project in every city, every business, and every home. And it's an honor to announce today that we are creating a party to celebrate our collective potential and devoted to the great civilization project to create a world that works for all. The future of politics is here. One Nation is a network of citizens devoted to reclaiming life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. One Nation is a convergence of transformational movements in all domains that are now ripe for a political rally point. One Nation is a vehicle so we can think together, act together, run elections, and establish new policies designed to deploy the power of government to reach the potential of our society. One Nation is a political home for everyone ready to rebirth our world. One Nation is a new American party for the 100% and 100% independent from the existing service. At your 100% independent from the existing system, at your service as you become the leader the world needs you to be. The Apollo project didn't happen on accident. It required vision and leadership, massive coordination of people and projects. It was a force of creativity and execution. This is a society-wide call for millions to rise together, each fulfilling their unique purpose by giving their unique gift, together with millions of others doing the same. It's time to completely abandon any political affiliation not devoted to transforming our fundamental systems. It's time to completely abandon any political affiliation not devoted to transforming our fundamental systems, so that every morsel of your activism can be channeled into the deep change that will enable a new era of humanity to emerge. One Nation is devoted to our land, is devoted to protecting our land and people from harm, devoted to healing our sick brothers and sisters from disease, devoted to regenerating ecosystems and earth systems, devoted to cultivating new economic systems that revolve around holistic thriving of people and nature, devoted to transforming our culture of politics through transparency, citizen stewardship, a return to process, a blossoming of creativity, and leadership that sincerely honors public interest above their own. Together, there is nothing we can't do. We can create a world without homelessness, suicide, and violence, without slavery, without cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and obesity, without pollution, without poverty. And we can be proud of how we deal with these things wisely in the meantime. We can create a world in which all children and all people are excited to be alive. We can create an America that is truly a beacon of security, sufficiency, and care for all, a leader in innovation and prosperity, and a model of civilization redesign that can inspire the world. Call it paradise, heaven on earth, a new era, a millennium of peace. Call it what you will, but let's take it extremely seriously. So much so that we put it on every ballot, in every budget, and integrate it into every policy. And let's start that process right now. This is a call to create the exceptional society of our imaginations. And like a war effort of the past, we make it the unifying goal of all sectors: science, philosophy, spirituality, coming together with technology, health, government, intersecting with justice, education, enabled by new infrastructure, fueled by economics and business. Now is the time to come together. This is the moment we've been preparing for, to play the ultimate game, to achieve the ultimate goal, to produce the vision of society that lives in our dreams, a world that truly works for all. And it will take all of us playing all out to do it. And in order to do this, there's one thing we must do first. You see, the central problem is not a political one or an economic one. It's a cultural one. We must flip a switch in our minds. It's the switch that says, I can only win if you lose. It's the win-lose trap. It's a virus in our minds that sees the whole world in terms of us versus them. A game where there must be losers. A story in which there is always someone else to blame. It keeps us stuck, fighting each other. It's our greatest disease, and it's the only thing holding us back. And it's not even true. The way this win-lose virus works is it wants everyone you see as other to lose, and everyone you see as us to win. And the greatest hack of our era is to rise and see everyone as us, so that our mind starts working to figure out how everyone can win. We are brilliant. We are creative and have endless technological capacities. We can create a world in which all can win. We can create policies in which all win. The future of politics is all win. We are in this together, and the most courageous and visionary stand we can make today is to believe that an all-win world is possible, and the commitment to making it so. It's time for everyone to come together. No one is right, no one is wrong. We have different critical perspectives, and we need them all. We need the fiscal conservatives to ensure the efficient use of public funds. We need the fiscal liberals to envision new ways our government can serve society. We need social conservatives to protect traditional family values. We need social liberals to challenge the status quo. We need libertarians to keep the scope and influence of government minimal in our lives. We need Greens to ensure we're protecting our environment and our people. We need constitutionalists to bring us back to the original instructions of our nation. We need activists to sound the alarm for injustice. We need anarchists to remind us to never give our liberty away. We need the politically disengaged to show us when we haven't created a democracy that inspires their participation. We need the indigenous to remind us that we are all indigenous to Earth. We need every age, ethnicity, and group to show us the world from their perspective so we can create something beautiful and good together. There is room for everyone, and we need everyone. Our nation's motto is E pluribus unum, out of many, one. We are the many, and we are the one. This is the unity of America as one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The original promise of America was not about governmental ideals. It was about what it could feel like to live here. The promise that you feel safe. The promise that you live and feel free to choose your life. The promise that you can live with people different than you and feel inspired to create something together you could never create on your own. And it's time to fulfill the original promise of America for all. And like the founders who produced our democracy, it's now up to us to roll out the upgrades and reveal the future of government, to guarantee 100% transparency, to enable all citizens digital access to government so everyone can participate in the accountability, considerations, and choices of our representatives, to disable with zero tolerance the ability for public officials to use public service for personal gain, to activate inquiry and deactivate opinion, to install conversation and uninstall debate, and to establish new voting standards that expect full transparency, accountability, and all-win leadership from candidates. And this is not only a conversation about going forward. Before we can build our thriving future, we must cry together the tears of our violent past so our hearts can open, ready to work together, side by side, to create paradise for all. So here's the rollout plan for One Nation USA. In 2020, we are running a national launch campaign to wave the flag and bring together everyone ready for a new paradigm of politics and systemic transformation in America. And that starts now. In 2022, we run a national campaign to put a new wave of leaders into local office to begin stewarding the change at the local level. In 2024, we continue pressing our growing political power into government at the national and state levels. With each election cycle, we strengthen ourselves and our capacities, end the domination of the two-party system once and for all, and unlock the next phase of American politics. In the years to follow, we undertake the great policy reset of America. We review all legislation and cut anything designed for personal gain and abuse of power. We create new standards of policy that enable our all-win potential, and we give the future generations a pure policy foundation upon which to build. By 2030, we have rebirthed our country, and by 2040, we have inspired similar transformations around the world, resulting in the most prosperous human society we can imagine. If this message activates something inside you, if you know this is where you belong, go to onenation.party and register as a member of a political party devoted to serving you as you rise in your full potential and up to the challenge of rebirthing America, establishing the future of government, and inspiring systemic transformation worldwide. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change we seek. And we will live the story we want the future to tell about our generation. With fire in our eyes, together we rise.